for comprehension. Please make sure you've got your pencil and paper ready to write down your answers. Right, I will share my screen with you and we will start reading from page 100, the second paragraph, where my pointer is. Here we go. So Beowulf left, carrying with him 12 new treasures, those promised parting gifts from the king to the Geatish hero, that dear man, friend forever of the Danish king and his people. Gold decked and resplendent with rings he left them, and not a Dane who watched him go believed the reward was any more than he deserved. Now they came again to the seashore, sorrowing in their loss of Hanchio, their dead war companion, and at the same time rejoicing in all that had been achieved, and also in Hrothgar's generosity towards them. The coast guard, who had greeted them days before, saw them coming again, these young warrior heroes in their war shirts and glittering helmets. He rode to greet them, guiding them to the waiting sea-boat he had guarded so carefully for them. Once the ship was loaded with horses and armor, and Hrothgar's hoard of gifts, Beowulf gave the coast guard a gift, a gold-hilted sword. It was a gift I am sure the man treasured forever. Then a mist rose high over the deck. The slack sail hoisted was soon wind-filled with taut, and the ship's timbers felt again the sea surge. Right, I'll pause there for our first question. As they got closer to their journey, who did Beowulf and his warriors grieve for? Right, you can look for the answer and write down. My next question is, what gift does Beowulf give to the Coast Guard? Right, you can read through page 101 and write down your answer. I'll carry on. I was on the bottom, this last sentence on page 101. Out over the waves the ship danced, rejoicing to feel again the foam at its throat. Like the warriors, that sea-boat longed to be home, rode the ocean, surf skimmed the waves until they saw at last the welcome cliffs and headlands of a home, a coast they knew and loved. A favorable breeze brought them over the shallows and beached them safely on shore. Their coming had not gone unnoticed from those homeland cliffs. Geatish coast guards had been long watching for their return, anxiously awaiting their beloved heroes. They were there on the beach, helping to moor the boat, to hold it fast so that no sea surge could harm this boat of heroes. They were there to help unload the heroes' golden hoard, marveling at the amount of it, at the richness of it. They did not have far to carry it, for Hygelac, the Geatish king, lived with his war band close by the sea wall itself. News of their coming, of the hoard they carried, raced ahead of them to Hygelac himself, brave king of all the Geats. Beowulf, his nephew and greatest champion, his hearth companion, had survived his perilous quest, and was returning home unscathed. By order of Hygelac, the mead hall was cleared at once and prepared for Beowulf and those honored Geatish heroes. As he saw Beowulf and his warriors striding into the hall, Hygelac could scarcely contain his burning curiosity to hear all about their adventures in Denmark and their miraculous return. After all the greetings were done, there never was such a warmth of welcome, and the mead cup had been offered around to each and every one of these heroes. The two noble kinsmen, Hygelac and Beowulf, sat down face to face, the one eager to know, and the other one eager to tell. Hygelac leaned forward, longing to hear. "Tell us now, beloved brave Beowulf, how you survived this battle in distant Heorot. I warned you, did I not, of the dangers that lay ahead of you in Denmark? Do not go, dear friend, I said, and face that murderous monster Grendel. Those were my words, if I remember. Yet you did not listen to my advice. You were determined to help Hrothgar, a friend in need, and I confess now I much admired you for it. Tell me now all that happened. Live it for us again, so we may know all you have done whilst you were gone. So Beowulf told his story to his king of how the Geats had been so royally welcomed to Eurot, that great mead hall, of Grendel's coming by night, how Handshoe had been snatched up half asleep and ground to death in Grendel's jaws. I grappled with this beast bare-handed, my lord, Hygelac, said Beowulf, grasped his arm, and would not let him go. When he tore himself away, still I held his severed arm. Perhaps he thought he had escaped, but it was his death wound, his life's blood draining out of him deep in his watery lair. Right, question 3. How does Hygelac feel about the return of Beowulf? You can read through the text and write down your answer. Right, I'll carry on from page 106. So the monster died, and so I avenged all the hurt he had done to Hrothgar and Danes. And generously the king rewarded me, just as he had promised, with a treasure hoard of gold, rich and finely worked. And at Eurot all of us, Danish thanes and Geatish warriors, rejoiced. But we rejoiced too soon, for out of the night came Grendel's vengeful mother, a fiend filled with fury. She struck down the fair she saw. Asher he was called, most beloved counsellor and dearest hearth companion to Hrothgar, the old king. So I went after her. Seeking her lair, I plunged into the whirlpool of sea serpents and found her there, this gruesome guardian of the deep. Hand in hand we fought. I was as near to death than I have ever been, saved only by God and by a giant sword. With this I hewed off both their hideous heads, made an end to that family of monsters, slew the last of Satan's children, and brought peace again to Hrothgar and the Danish people. For all this the fair and generous king presented us with more treasures still, all of which, brave king, I have carried back for you, who are my only family. Then Beowulf had them bring in all the treasures he had received from Hrothgar, a boar's head standard, helmet and war shirt, and sword, all of which had belonged to Hrothgar's own brother. No gift could have been more precious than all this garb of war, none more kindly meant. 4 high-stepping horses were then led in, burnished bay they were, and matching as apples. All these and more Beowulf gave that day to his lord. Surely there was never a more generous heart than his. To Hygelac's queen he presented the marvellous ancient collar. Right, I'll pause there for our next question. What does the word hewed mean? Right, you can see the word right here at the bottom of page 106 where my pointer is. Hewed. With this I hewed off both their hideous heads. Please write what the word hewed means. Right, the next question is, predict what Hygelac will do for Beowulf. So Beowulf has been telling his adventures, he's been explaining how difficult his battles were and how he won those battles and killed the monsters. What do you think Hygelac will do for Beowulf? You can write your predictions. Okay, I'll move on. So on the previous page, I was reading about what Beowulf presented the queen with. He gave her the ancient collar that was given by Hrothgar, and 3 prancing horses also, and fine saddles too. Wearing this jewel, the queen shone in beauty as never before. For all these great gifts, and to honor this great champion, Hygelac laid in Beowulf's lap the finest sword in the royal treasure. Richly wrought in gold it was, magnificent in every detail. But that was not all. The king bestowed on him there and then a huge estate, and a fine hall too, fit for such a hero who had brought through his brave deeds such honour and such riches to the land of the Geats. All seemed then peaceful and set fair for Hygelac and the Geats, but the fate of kings and their people, even of great heroes, is for ever fickle and fraught with danger. Right, that's the end of our chapter. I'll stop here today. My next question is, what does Beowulf present to the Queen? So this answer is split in 2 pages. I'll show you the first page. You can read through page 107. Once you find the part of the answer, you can move on to the next page and finish and complete your answer, please. The next question is, what does fraught with danger mean? That is here on the last paragraph where my pointer is, fraught with danger. You can go through this last paragraph here and tell me the meaning of this phrase. And my last question is, do you like this story? And tell me why. So I want you to really get into the details, share what parts of the story you liked and why, if there was anything you didn't like, and tell me why. Okay? And now it's time for the answers. So my first question was, as they got closer to their journey, who did Beowulf and his warriors grieve for? The answer is Hanchil. The next question was, what gift does Beowulf give to the Coast Guard? A gold-hilted sword. Third question, how does Hygelac feel about the return of Beowulf? So he felt very excited and extremely curious to know all about Beowulf's adventures in Denmark. So if you copied the phrase from the text, which said he had the burning curiosity to find out, you can mark that as correct as well. The next question was, what does the word hewed mean? So it means chopped or cut down. Question 5. Predict what Hygelac will do for Beowulf. So these are your own predictions, and I'd like you to share your predictions on Tapestry so we can read through them. Question 6. What does Beowulf present to the Queen? So he presented the Queen with 2 things. First one was the marvelous ancient collar, and the second was 3 prancing horses with fine saddles. If you've mentioned both of these things, your answer is correct. Question 7. What does fraught with danger mean? So I'll start explaining what fraught means first. Fraught means full of. So fraught with danger means full of danger. And the last question for today was, do you like this story and why? I'd really like you to share your answers on Tapestry and tell me what you liked or didn't like about this story. Right, guys, that's all for today. That's the end of comprehension lessons for this term. I really hope you have a fantastic, fun-filled half term. Hope you all have a great time this week, and I will see you shortly. Right, that's all for today. Bye.